Hey, everybody. How many of you find yourself on this? I used to call it like a Ferris wheel or on a roller coaster, the mediumship roller coaster, where you're just up and down, and it's practice, 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 trying to um, get better at the evidence, presenting the evidence, platform, one to ones, all of the above. Well, I'm no different. I know that I teach mediumship, but I'm no different. I have to keep my own skills sharp as well. And recently, I had the opportunity to watch some of my old tutors from the Althafini College, and I had a stark awakening that I'm a bit lazy since I've last been to the college, and I needed to work on my own development. Put the thought out there, and the Q&A group graciously volunteered to allow me to practice with them. So in this Q&A, I take the role of student and teacher as well. So what does that mean? Student and teacher? Well, yes, of course. Teaching is my thing, y'all. It's what I've been doing. I did for 29 years as a career was a teacher. So I can't just stop teaching. So I've got a small group of people as my audience who are learning about mediumship. And I'm wanting to um, expand on my own development. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to share with them exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to think out loud for them, much in the same way that I did when I taught little children. I would model and think out loud so that they would understand what I'm doing. So that's what this Q&A is all about. Me modeling, showing you, here's me in the real, practicing, trying to learn something or move away from an old habit to form a new habit. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learn something from it. And if you do, please put comments in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed already to my YouTube channel, go on ahead and do that as well. If you want to be a part of these Q&As, join my Facebook group, Mediumship Development / Mediums Corner. And then you can get all the details there and and be a part of the group as well. All right. Good. All right. Take a look. Oh, and one more thing, y'all. As I went back and I watched this video, I cringed. Oh, yeah. I cringed. There's so much there that I need to work on. So much. So I just thought I would share that with you just so that you know that um, it's not perfect. There's absolutely nothing perfect about what you're going to see. There's a lot of ugh, it's a hot mess in places, and so I'm not gonna beat myself up for it. I'm just gonna say, you know what? It is what it is, and now I know I need to work on that too. And that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. All right, enjoy. With my platform, if I'm working one to one, yes, I can work on the skill, absolutely. But if I'm working with a group like you, then it changes the dynamics and it changes the way that I have to work slightly. That makes sense. Am I making any sense or am I just rambling? I'm thinking in my head here. So one of the things that um, was brought to my attention or that I got to watch be demonstrated by one of the um, tutors was uh, using a really strong piece of clairvoyant evidence to get started. Well, I'm here to tell you, starting with a clairvoyant image is completely and totally out of my comfort zone. That's not how I normally work. I start with using the clairsentience. And it's not because I want to start that way or I plan to start that way. It just happens that way. That it's the clairsentience. I feel the spirit communicator come in and I just blend with them. And as I'm blending with them, I start to get the essence of the communicator. And that's where I start. And then images might come later. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're doing one-to-one readings, because you've got one person in front of you. So you don't have to worry um, about getting to your recipient quickly because you only have one. So it's different. So when you're working platform, if you start with a very strong image, practical evidence, not the image of the spirit communicator, but a strong, when I say practical piece of evidence, I'm referring to a memory that the spirit communicator shared with an image that the spirit communicator shared with the sitter, a memory like a vacation or, it could be anything. So a strong piece of evidence like that could be a memory, it could be their hobbies, it could be their work, but not the person itself, not their personality. That's different. Does that make sense? So you take that one piece of evidence and you get that image before you start the reading. You take that image, so remember your evidence comes in through your clairvoyance, clairsentience. Evidence comes in through the solar plexus, where your clairsentience is, and moves up. And then an image is manifested in the mind. So when we get that image, the purpose of the image is to help you understand what your clairsentience is telling you or sharing with you. So you get this image and you push it back down into that clairsentience. For me, because I love doing psychometry, I imagine that image. I do this, I imagine this in my head. Put my hand out and put it in here and I hold it. That's what I imagine myself doing. Because I love doing psychometry and it's like I'm doing psychometry with that image in my mind. That's how I rationalize it. And I'm holding it and feeling into that image to see, what does this mean? Because one of the things that I've learned through the years is we can't depend on being able to describe what we're seeing. If all we do is describe what we're seeing, we're going to eventually, at some point, it's going to go very wrong because it's not going to be what you're seeing. So the spirit world manifests this image and send it to you. They're not, it's not like it's magical in the spirit world and they can do whatever they want. If that were the case, it'd be like talking to them on the phone, because I'm sure they would make it much easier for us if they could. But they manifest whatever it is that they can, that's going to help you, the medium, get to what they want you to understand. So we have to meet them halfway and feel into it to understand the full meaning of what that image is. Does that make sense? Now, it sounds very simple, and it really is. If we get out of the way, and we don't allow the logical mind to come in and make it make sense. So that's the whole purpose of this. Now, what do we do if we set our intent to get one image, strong piece of image? We set that intent. We talk to our spirit team and we say, hey, what do you think? Can we maybe start working this way. Send that thought out there and then just wait for them to do whatever they need to do to help you. And then you do your part to help them. Because there are partners, they can't do it all by themselves. We have to meet them halfway, right? So that's, we get this image and we feel into it. I'm not going to describe the image. Sometimes I might, but for the most part, I'm not. I'm just going to feel into it. And then I'm going to um, start my reading. And if I'm working on platform, my goal is for only one, maybe two people to raise their hand. The goal is to narrow it down. I want it to be strong enough that only one or two people will understand it. Because if you're in a room of 100 people and you give the kind of evidence that I normally get at the beginning, half of them are going to raise their hand or more. Maybe three-fourths of them will raise their hand. So that's why we want to go for that strong piece of evidence in the beginning. You get a strong piece of evidence in the beginning, it kind of carries you. And if you hang on to it and hold on to it and work with it for as long as you can, it'll lead you into another place that's somehow connected to it. So that's what we want to do. Any questions on that? Hi, Robin. Hi, Janelle. Yes, Deborah.
Okay. So my question, I'm sure we have all had this experience where you have two people taking your evidence, you continue to give more evidence, and the same two people are still taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wound up finishing recently where with I couldn't be certain who I was with. I just couldn't nail it. And the person running it said I should have just picked one of them and went with that. Do you agree with that?
It's not about picking. It's
Well,
about
that's what
feeling. It's about feeling.
I didn't feel drawn to either
Yeah.
one.
So it's about where do I feel drawn to energetically? And from the soul, not from our mind, but from our soul, allow the soul to cry out to the soul that you're communicating with. And just cry, let your soul cry out to them and say, who are you with? Where's your loved one? Right? They know. They know exactly where their person is. And they will help you lead you to it. And you'll feel this pull there. And it's okay for you to say, let's just say I've got Brooke and Jean right in the middle of my screen here, so I'll pick on them. Let's just say Brooke and Jean are taking all of the evidence. So I'm going to feel into it and see where maybe I'm drawn to. I'm going to say I feel drawn to Brooke. I'm going to say, Jean, thank you very much. I'm going to work with Brooke, but please just keep listening. I'm going to start working with Brooke. I'm going to know pretty quickly whether or not I'm with Brooke because the energy is going to pick up. The evidence is going to pick up. Everything's going to start working smoothly. Because normally, up until this point, you've got a little bit of tug and war going on here. Let's say it doesn't quite work well with Brooke. It is okay for me as the medium to go, hang on, Brooke. Jean, do you understand everything that I've just said? If she says yes, I'm going to say, thank you, Brooke. Let me work with Jean. And then I'm going to work with Jean, and hopefully it's going to go smoothly. If it doesn't go smoothly with Jean and it doesn't go smoothly with Brooke, I'm not with either one of them. I'm with somebody else. Absolutely. It's okay to do that. I would much rather do that and say, sorry, Brooke, sorry, Jean. and throw it out and just say, is there anybody else in the audience that understands this? Now, if I have a huge audience, a lot of people, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to help me. Where are we going? And I'm going to go to an area, hopefully, and just see if there's somebody else that understands the evidence. Because there are people in audiences that will not raise their hand. They want to make sure. They want to make sure before they raise their hand. I'm one of those people. I won't raise my hand until I'm absolutely sure you're with me. So when I'm in a normal dim, I'm like that. So I would much rather do that and get with the right recipient than go to the wrong recipient. So I'm okay with that. When you're in a practice situation, it's okay if you don't, it's okay for you to try that. And it's okay if you don't find them because you're trying to figure out how does this work? You're trying to figure out what does it feel like when I feel that energy? What's that feel like? Because sometimes I feel a pull, sometimes I just know. It's never the same because that would be too easy. We can't make it, right? Yeah. So that's the goal, is to try to narrow it down as quickly as possible. Because in a demonstration, you've got 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and you don't want to spend half your time trying to figure out who you're with. Because when you are spending that 5 minutes, however many minutes it is, trying to figure out who you're with, you lose the rest of the audience. And we don't want to lose the rest of the audience. We want to keep them there, so we want to find them. Good question.
I think I saw a question from Tanya.
Oh, Tanya, I'm sorry. Do you have
in chat? Yeah.
Oh, when no one is raising their hand and waiting to confirm. That's when immediately. So if I throw that out and nobody's raising their hand in the audience, then that's when I go to, okay, help me here, communicator. Where's your loved one? They've got to be here somewhere. And I might go to an area, like I might go to, the last 2 rows on the right side of the auditorium or something. I might, narrow it down. Can I come right here with you 4 people right here? Does one of you understand it? Because sometimes if you have somebody in the audience that's afraid to raise the hand because they're not sure, they want to make sure. If you go to their vicinity, they might go, or the person next to them will elbow them or something. You'll get an inkling if you're in the right area. And you can also go, so let's say I went to 2 people in the middle of the audience, on the left side of the audience, but in the middle of the chairs. I go to these 2 people, neither one of them understands it. Then I might go behind them, in front of them, to the side of them and see, am I in the right area? Maybe I didn't go to the right 2 people to begin with. Maybe I'm off a row or to the side. And I can always add just a little bit more information to the first part. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to bring anything that's brand new in. I'm going to stick with that image. All right, so what I would like to do today is I want to practice this myself. And like I said, this is totally out of my comfort zone. I don't normally work this way. I don't normally get images at the very beginning, which is, why I decided, girl, you need to get off your bonnet, stop being lazy and get it together, get it together kind of thing. So, and then I thought to myself, it would be really nice to do this with a group. But what I would like to try, and I don't know if it's going to work, I might fall flat on my face, and that if I do, I do, and that's okay because that's just part of this. All of you are training in this, so you guys know that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But what I'd like to do is I want to work real fast. I'm not going to give you a complete reading. I'm not going to do that. Spirit world already knows that. But what I would like to do is just bring somebody in from the spirit world, get a strong piece of evidence, and then present it in a way. I'm going to try real hard not to describe um, what I'm getting as my image. I don't want to do that. Um, give you enough, just enough so that I can place who I'm with. And my goal is to place who I'm with really, really quick. And could I have a volunteer to be a timekeeper that will time me to see how long it takes me to place my recipient? I want you to stop the time.
Stopwatch.
Yeah,
Okay.
use like a stopwatch. Stop it once I've placed my recipient.
Okay.
I might go on for a minute or two, but just stop the stopwatch. Let's see who's here. Okay, got somebody stepping forward now. I'm gonna talk to you as a teacher. I'm gonna talk to you. I would not do this on a platform, but as a teacher of mediumship, I'm gonna talk through this so you know what I'm doing. So I've got a man. I do feel I have somebody coming in here now. And my energy, I am already starting to blend with him. My clairsentience is already kicking in. I'm getting a feeling of who this man is. But I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm not going to start yet because I need an image from this gentleman. Okay. Okay. Now I've got my image, so now I want to feel into this image. To just see um, what's the meaning of this image. And I have to. I'm just going to say this to you guys right now. Um, the emotion that I'm feeling from this man is very strong. So I'm dealing with that, like going, don't make me cry. Don't do it. That's why I'm having this conversation with him. All right, so I've got this gentleman here with me, and I know I've got a gentleman here who would have loved being in the spotlight. I know that this gentleman would have been one that could put on a show for anybody. He he would have had a heart of gold, and being in the spotlight was his love, was his joy. I also feel with this man that he would have had dancing would have been important to him. I also feel that he would have been, I don't know, I keep getting drawn to his voice as well. Who understands this gentleman bigger than life? Two people. Thank you. All right. You take every single bit of it. All right. I do feel that I'm drawn to you, Jean. So I'm just going to work with Jean for just a second, Deborah, but if you can just listen here. I feel with this gentleman, um, a giant. I just get this feeling that he would have been a giant teddy bear, a giant teddy bear. Just want to wrap my arms around him, and he wants to wrap his arms around you. You would understand the voice. You would understand the voice being important. Would you
Yes.
also understand dancing with this gentleman as
Yes.
well? Would
Yes.
you also understand that he would be on a stage? That's the feeling that I get.
Yes.
I know who I have. I've got your friend. I know that's who I have.
Yes.
I'm just gonna send you his note because he's making me cry. Oh my I'm sitting here saying this to him. I don't do this. And he's got this huge, huge smile on his face. But this man, when he was on the stage, when he was a singer. Would you
Yes,
understand?
yes, and a
And,
dancer.
and a dancer. But when he was on this stage, he lit the stage up. And his energy touched everybody in the audience. You would understand this
Yes,
about him.
yes,
And you know, he's just I could go on and on and on with him because he is a very good communicator. Even though he's been in the spirit world only for a little while, he's a really good communicator and he's blending with me so easily here. But I'm just gonna end it. But he just says, girl, I had to come. You
that
know,
sounds like him.
and he's just blowing you kisses and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just leave that his love there with you because I don't need it. Although I appreciate it. I'm like, ooh, dude, take that away.
Yes,
Holy. Oh, what a
yes,
lovely.
yes.
Okay.
My friend
And
Jason.
the image that I got was tap shoes.
Mm-hmm.
The image. Did
Yeah.
he tap? Was he a tap dancer?
Yes, he was a trained dancer, trained singer. He
Okay.
did shows. He loved show business. He loved entertaining.
Good. All right.
He loved it. Mhm.
So
Thank you.
I'll just leave his love there with you. All right. Did you notice how once I started working with her, everything picked up? I didn't even think about Deborah because I knew I now was with her because it just whoosh came in. And he came in even stronger once I said, thank you, Deborah, I'm going to work with Jean.
I'm curious, did you feel that it was still your person for a while?
No, when Kay
Yeah.
was really blending, and he obviously really powered up once
Yeah.
he realized she was with Jean. I agreed. I knew that
Yeah.
it wasn't for me.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Okay. So let's see who's next.
You did that, Kay. You said, I know I have your friend at 4 minutes and 16 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you
But
ended.
when did I say, Jean, I'm working with you?
At 3 minutes and 33 seconds.
I see. Now I'm not happy with 3 minutes.
That's pretty good, I think. Okay.
I'm not happy with 3 minutes. Let's
Okay.
35 feet. Okay. All right. So I've got somebody else coming in. Don't start timing me until I actually start the reading. Okay. When did you start timing me? Did you start when
Right when you started the reading.
okay.
Yeah.
But I started when you started talking to us.
No, I start once I go. I've got a man here, yada yada.
Okay, thank you.
And I start with the evidence. So I know. So I'm just letting you know. I know that I'll let you. Let me just see where they go. Somebody here. Okay, I've got somebody here. I have an image. All right. I've got a lady here that would have been a lady who would have stood on the stage. We've got a theme going here. I know she would have stood on the stage. I know she would have been quite comfortable um, um, in front of an audience. But I want to switch here just a little bit. I feel like I'm doing more talking. It's not singing and dancing like the last one. Feels more like I'm talking, but I'm on the stage and I'm very comfortable doing this, very knowledgeable at the work that I'm doing as well. Feels more along, yeah, it's talking on a stage. who here understands a lady that would have been very comfortable, very knowledgeable, standing on a stage talking to others? Two people. All right. And you understand every bit of it.
Mhm.
All right. I'm feeling a little bit more drawn to this. Is interesting. I'm going to keep going just for a second because I was drawn one place and then it's switched on me. So let me just keep going. And this, you would understand that this lady, I feel very intelligent, and that when she was standing on the stage talking, it was for information. It would have been, so it's not entertainment. It doesn't feel like entertainment. Feels like she's standing up and she's giving information. So it's informational kind of talking in front of an audience. Am I still with you? And you would understand, I know that there would be a podium on this stage. I know that. But I also feel that she would just take the mic and walk across that stage. She would be very commanding of the stage. And people would be quite engrossed in what it was that she was talking about. I also feel that she would have had a bit of a sense of humor as well. So she was very serious, very intelligent, very knowledgeable, but with a sense of humor, she could bring the audience in. She was quite good at working the audience. I do feel a little more drawn to Tanya. She was the first person that I was drawn to, and I probably should have stayed with that. And you understand every bit of that, Tanya?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, Brooke, I'm just going to let you keep listening because I could be wrong. Who knows? Now, Tanya, I feel that these are large audiences, not small, quaint audiences. I feel that this is a good size audience here. And I do feel that this would have something to do with her work, and that she would, whatever it is that she does in her work, that she would have to stand in front of others and bring information. I know she would also have a big screen as well on this stage. This makes sense to you?
Yes.
Would you also understand that this would be family as well?
Sorry, I missed that last part, Kate.
It's family?
She would have been considered family, yes.
Yes, okay. And Brooke, yours was not family, is that correct?
That's the first thing I have to say no to.
Okay, perfect. That I felt that was the divider right there. This was family and not, and I felt, okay, perfect. All right. I'm going to stop right there so you would understand this lady. You would understand her as, she has an elegance about her.
Absolutely.
Yes, elegance and grace on this stage, and very commanding of the audience and the people that were listening to her. I mean, she was really good with that. You would understand. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Would this be like a grandmother or somebody of that generation?
She would have been a grandmother, jet type. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I'll stop right there. I know that was way over 3 minutes.
I think it started about 4.
Girl, that one. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
It was good to see finding that piece of evidence,
Mhm.
like to divide things. So
I was given a microphone. I saw a mic.
okay.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
Yes, Jennifer.
So I'm just wondering, could you start with I see a microphone
No,
instead of
I could.
Because I'm just saying if you did that, then that's your start.
Well, I could, but what if it's not about a microphone?
Okay. No, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
It could not, you know, like my example that I gave you last week when I did this with a class. I clearly saw a rocket ship like the Apollo 13 shooting through the sky. My reading had nothing to do with rockets.
I remember you did a class, Kay, where my image was a cardboard box. It
Oh
had
my.
nothing to do with a cardboard box, but a story opened up.
Yeah.
So what's the point of getting the image then if it has nothing to do with the reading?
The image will lead me to where I need to go, because I saw the rocket ship. When I felt into the rocket ship, it wasn't about rockets, it was about models, building models. And then I could smell that stinky glue that they use, and then as I continued blending, so I opened with, I have a gentleman here who loved to build models and work with his hands. He was very creative. And as I said that, a hand went up, but then I said, you would also understand that he worked and created and made things with wood as well. So there were the models, model planes, model trains, model cars, and then toys with wood. Had nothing to, but the
Oopsie.
rocket got me there when I felt into it. And perhaps it is that spirit, because it was a class, maybe spirit gave me a rocket to show the class not all images are as they are seen.
Right. Yeah, valid point.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily trust the clairvoyant image immediately and go with
Well,
that.
trust it. Absolutely trust it. But marry it with your clairsentience to see, because they not all images are exactly as you see them. So that's why we have to get into this habit of image, push it back down, feel it. Right?
Okay.
I mean, I've given readings where I could hear words. I could hear my communicator was telling me that they were a certain way. And then when I married those words with my clairsentience, that is not what I was feeling. I was feeling the opposite. So what did that mean? She wanted to present herself one way because in her world, that's how she saw herself. But in the world of everybody around her, she was nothing like that.
That was a really interesting statement because that's come up for me.
It
Someone
does that.
presents themselves a certain kind of way, but the family,
Right.
it wasn't
And,
their personal experience.
not always, not always. Because we all can present ourselves in different ways. We are one person when we're at home and we're comfy.
Mm-hmm.
We're another person maybe when we're in a work situation because we have to be professional or whatever. So we can have different parts of us. But then there are some people who may be struggling, um, mentally have something going on there, and they're unable to cope with the world around them. So in their mind, they see themselves like this. Everybody else is going, nope, that's not really right. So you have to trust it. So when I presented that, I just said, you would understand, this was a partner, you would understand that your partner believed in her own mind that she was this way, but in reality, she was more like this. And they were like spot on. So you have to trust, I had to trust both of them. Because I got the voices, I heard them for a reason. You just have to trust it and feel into it to understand. And how did I know that she thought of herself one way, but really was another way? That when I went into it with the clairsentience, it just kind of all started to make sense to me. I could feel it. I was like, oh, she really does believe this about her. But this is how she is in reality. So you just have to trust it. there. All right. I've got a gentleman here who had a love for sports. Love for sports. I feel with this gentleman that he would have loved going and watching, being a spectator in sports. But I do feel in his younger years that he would have also been involved with sports in some way as well. I know that he would have. I'm seeing tickets to professional athletes, and I want to go with basketball as well. Does anybody understand this? Nobody understands. I know that with this, I'm kind of being drawn over here towards you, Justine. So just keep listening here. I know that this gentleman would have played basketball in school as well. But I know that he had a love for other sports as well. But I know that he would have loved basketball or played basketball. I also see playing basketball, um, you know, out of a gym, like outside playing basketball as well. Is that making any sense to you?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to stay with that image that I have there. Do you understand? Can I just clarify? You understand this love for sports?
The basketball is definitely connecting. I'm definitely connecting with the basketball.
Good.
I could see that there would be other sports as well.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Did I do better on my time on that one? Now, first things first, y'all. Did I do better?
Yes, you did. You did.
All right, good. All right. Basketball was what I was shown. I was shown a basketball. I feel that I like this man. I do. Um, he's just making me aware. I'm not seeing him. I really don't see him very at all. But he's just making me aware that he would have been handsome in life. That's the feeling that he gives me. Um, I know that, and you would understand just playing basketball, shooting hoops with the boys. You'd understand that, right? All right, because that's the part that was important that I say.
Yeah.
You understand that we're shooting hoops. We're outside. I feel
Yeah.
we're outside. We're not in a gym or anything. We're outside. We're shooting hoops, and it feels like with the boys, his friends, and that sort of thing. You
Yeah.
would understand.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to stop there.
Thank you.
He was handsome, wasn't he?
He was a handsome
I
kid.
get this feel. I can feel it. I'm not really
Yeah.
slightly kind of seeing it, but like nice bone structure in the face.
So it was my friend's little brother.
Uh,
And when we'd come home from work, he'd be playing basketball in the driveway. And he was just a great kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could feel, and he I did get a sense that he passed young,
Yeah.
not, but I didn't say that, so I can't.
Yeah. No. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're at 2 minutes, 17 seconds, I think. Did you get that, Brooke?
I got two second or 2 minutes when she thought she was at a place.
Yeah.
So we're right around the same thing. And then it was just at more like 3:11 when Justine was really, really positive about, I mean, they were really knew exactly there was more coming out, but definitely I'd say under 3.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Getting better. Well, sometimes you do talk for a minute or two. So 2 minutes, I'm happy with 2 minutes. Because if I can place them in 2 minutes, then I've got a good 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes if I, want to finish that
Well,
out.
you were drawn to Justine at a minute and a half, and at
Yeah.
2 minutes, you thought it was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this happens a lot with me with it's not always because, can't make it easy. But my eyes kept going to Justine.
Mhm.
And I'm one of those hesitant people, okay? It was
I-
popping into his little face was popping into my mind, and I'm like, I'm not sure, and I don't want to mess anything up by jumping in. But
Yeah.
so
I
if
mean,
I could have been more helpful.
I just felt my eyes just kept moving over to you. That's what it felt like. And I was like, I've got to be with you. And that happens sometimes with me. And I find that that happens more with Zoom as well, because it's different when you're working on Zoom. Yeah. Any questions? There's more to that exercise.
This has been so valuable to watch. I mean, I feel my own
Yeah.
energy. I'm kind of anxious for you, when you're starting. I'm like, "Ah." I have found it very instructive. Thank you.
Good, good. And then the next part of that, I mean, I still want to practice that. I want to get better at that. Because I want to get it to where it's just automatic, so that when I do one-to-one readings, I just automatically get that image. I want to get that automaticity worked in there. And I know that the way for me to do that is to just practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. And then that will happen because I'm breaking a habit. The habit that I have is just go for the essence. And if I stay with you, like I brought in a little bit more essence with Jean's friend, but as the reading goes on, I may still keep talking about the friends and the basketball, but I'm going to bring in the essence of that communicator as well. And I may even bring in something that doesn't have anything to do with basketball. But I want to stay with the basketball for as long as I can. The spirit manifests an image for you. They load it full of information. And it's up to us to unravel the information. That's what it's up to us. Now, here's the other part to the exercise. The other part to that is um, with this tutor, he believes that, and this is the way he has it set up with him. This is how he works. And I would love to do this as well. Is that first strong piece of evidence usually leads to the message. If I were to go back to that basketball, the message isn't going to be, Justine, go get your basketball. Get out there, girl. That's not what that is going to be. But if I feel into that basketball and that message, I feel that the message has something to do with friends and friendship and just finding that joy back, putting that joy or adding more joy into your life. That's the feeling that I get, and reconnect with your friends. That's the feeling. Would that make sense to you? And having this need to have that bonding with friends.
Yeah, very much, especially that friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That I get from that.
And we were together. I'd stay at her house after work, but the weekends we were high school, and we were together, and there he was playing in the driveway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I went back to the microphone, Tonya, as I move into that microphone, I get another image that's kind of connect to that microphone there.
Okay.
And what your grandmother would like to say to you is, girl, you got it in you. You've had it in you all along.
Mm.
that's what she would like to say to you.
Oh, I miss her. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, she sends her love because she's making me feel emotional.
She makes me feel emotional.
Why am I feeling emotional? I'm the poker.
I'm not really emotional, but she can do it every darn time.
Yeah, and she's making me feel emotional. And did she call you darling?
She did. She's a British, yes.
British? I was going to say, does she have a British
Yeah,
accent?
yeah, you're on. Yes,
Darling.
yes. Mm.
Okay, good. What did I get with you? Oh, the tap shoes.
The tap shoes.
Fabulous.
This guy was funny.
Very.
He says, just, you know what? Your light shines bright. And he says, just get up there and shake the stuff. And he shows me you with a mic in your hand.
Mhm.
Definitely shows me you with a mic in your hand. And he says, just get up there and shake your stuff. Do your thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
In the light, in the limelight. Not walking down the street. Well, you can walking down the street. But with an audience. Get
Okay.
do your thing.
I will. I get it.
Good.
Thank you.
Oh, you muted.
When you talked about the message coming out of the image that you get at the front, it made me think of the class that you did that I have used ever since, where the exercise was, when we had someone, we'd ask for a gift for the sitter. And I have found, for the most part, I don't get a message until I ask for a gift. And then I get the message from whatever the gift is. And the gift for me is always an image. So,
So
for
maybe.
the 95% of the time. What do you imagine? Or, I mean, should I start trying to practice? Just, I don't know who's out there or who's here, but ask whatever spirit is planning to be here today for an image, and just and go for the message first.
In your practice sessions.
Yeah.
I don't ever put any, I don't ever, when it's the real deal
Right.
and I'm giving a reading to somebody, my intent is just to meet their needs and the spirit world's needs. That's my intent. I don't worry about anything that I'm working on with spirit.
Okay.
But in your practice sessions, yes, set your intent. Just let your team know, I'd like to work on this.
I'm getting the message first.
Well, I would still save the message for later. I wouldn't do it right off the bat.
That's why I was curious.
What you're doing is you're taking that evidence of the basketball, the tap shoes, and the mic. You're taking that first piece of evidence, feeling into it to see how does that connect with the sitter. That's all you're doing. What is it that the spirit communicator wants to say to their loved one that is somehow tied into that first strong piece of evidence?
Okay, so I'll build that in then to my intention. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was trained that way, to tie in the message with a piece of evidence, because the spirit world will lead you to, this is what you need, this is what I want to say to them. They'll lead you to that. The only difference here is I let that come naturally. I don't start with it. So that's where I'm going to have to I'm just retraining, rerouting to learn it in a different way, where I start with it, but I would still save that message towards the end.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I hope that was helpful. That helped me. Thank you for letting me practice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kay, I just want to thank you for leading by example. It's very, very helpful.
Oh, good. I love doing it this way. I'll do this more if you want me to, because I love it. Because it's good practice for me, But
Yes.
This is how I taught when I taught kids in the classroom. This is how I taught. I'd model, and then they would go and try and do it. So it's a natural. This is natural for me. It's what I did for 29 years.
You did very, very well. Thank you so
But
much.
it's nice for me because, like, like I said, we all have to practice.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I was seriously, Brooke, thinking of joining Very Soul so I can practice.
Mhm.
But if I can practice with you guys and you guys can learn, and I'm quite happy with putting you in a breakout room and say, now you go try it.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy with
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
we can do that.
that'd be great.
It doesn't
That'd be-
always have to be Q&A.
Hey, I want to tell you, I just took,
Asking questions about what I'm showing you, so it still is kind of Q&A.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
okay, I want to tell you, I just took an 8-week platform reading class, and I think I learned more in this hour, or it pulled it all together. And watching you and these hints and the notes I took, thank you so much. This was just excellent.
Good. I'm happy to help. Good. 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 It was so good to see. It's so good to see you, Janelle. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know it's lovely to be here with you.
I know. I like it. Good. Alrighty, guys. I've got some asparagus soup on the stove waiting for me.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Jen.
Kay.
So
Feel better, Tanya. I hope you get to feeling better.
The long one. Yeah.
And thanks for joining, Robin. I know you're new. You haven't been before, have you?
I have not been. I've been trying to make it for some weeks, but haven't. So yeah, thank you for this.
Welcome.
Good.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, Kay.
Take care.